working with you gave me like financial freedom. Honestly, of all the clients I've had before, um, you are the most inspiring. I am really inspired on doing things that I didn't think I can do. When I first started, when I told my parents that I want to quit my, full-time job, my 9 to 5 job, they were really hesitant because being a teacher in the Philippines is a big deal. You have like a bachelor's degree, you've studied for like 4 years, you're very stable in your job. But then again, once I resigned and saw how big the world of virtual work is, I understood the financial empowerment it entails. Freelancing changed a lot for me.
Hey guys, today we have Lovely on the channel. Lovely is my VA that I've had since 2023, and she is just she's such a blessing because she has allowed me to spend more time with my 2 daughters, now about to be 3 daughters. So we just want to talk through kind of what our experience has been in terms of her working for the Etsy shops and how it's helped me and how it's helped her and kind of just our workflow. So Lovely, can you start off by telling them like what country you live in and what job you had before you started doing freelance work?
All right. Hi guys. My name is Lovely. I'm from the Philippines. I used to teach before I, went full time as a VA. So I used to be a teacher for like 6 years before finally jumping into another career.
Yes. Can you talk a little bit about, I know before you've mentioned kind of the perception of doing freelance work in the Philippines and what people think about it. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
So freelancing in the Philippines, some people see it before. Okay, this is before. They see it like a side hustle only, something like that. But then again, right after the pandemic and right after the surge of pandemic, people began seeing it as a career. I see many people wanting to switch to freelancing, to virtual work, to remote work, whatever they want to call it, just because they see the stability, owning their own time, spending time with their families. So yeah, that's basically the basically freelance in a nutshell in the Philippines. Like it was just a side hustle, but now it's more of like career. Okay, they
Yeah.
see it as a career now.
Yeah. Okay, that's awesome. So the perception, they don't look down on it at all anymore like they used to. It kind of used to be a little bit more like, don't do that, or less restricted.
Honestly, I just don't want it to, coming from me, but there are still some clients who still look down to the Filipinos, Filipino freelancers, just because they think it's a cheap labor. But in reality, this is business. We are doing stuff with you. We are working with you, and some other niche, or yeah, other niches would be like working for you. So, it's not really like a cheap labor, but definitely a business.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's good on both ends because I know a lot of Etsy sellers, they like to hire people from the Philippines because it is cheaper, but we're going to get into like talking about what a fair wage is for a Filipino worker. Can you speak to that, Lovely? What do you think a starting wage hourly would look like for someone in the Philippines?
Okay, I don't want to sound like me saying the standard of the fair wage, but as a Etsy VA, I would say that an hourly rate of like between maybe $4, $5, $6 per hour is actually a respectful, wage for for the VA. But definitely, if they have like higher level skills, or they can, they already have like a background of what you want them to do, definitely they will be asking for more. So technically, what matters is paying someone in a way that that respects both their time and the quality of work.
Yes, yeah. So even, yeah, if you're starting your VA out at $6 or $7 an hour and you give them bonuses or you give them
Mm-hmm.
um like a yearly raise, it's still really manageable for us in the States to pay that, but then to still have someone that's super qualified in the Philippines working for us. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds.
It's a
Okay.
win-win situation, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna give you guys kind of a idea of how me and Lovely started, and then I'll let her speak into it. So I just want to emphasize that there's not one cookie cutter way to do this, to hire a VA necessarily. There's a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different models. And over the last 2.5 years, me and Lovely, we've really collaborated on trying to figure out the best way for us to work together. So we started out in 2023 when I joined ICP. I felt like, well, that's Inner Circle Prints for those of you who don't know. I felt like my biggest bottleneck in my business was my mockups. So I was looking for someone to help me do Tumblr mockups, and I went to Upwork and I wrote out a job post, and Lovely was one of the people that applied for it, and I hired her then. And yeah, like right out the gate, the first person that I hired has been with me for 2.5 years and has been amazing in my business, which I know not as many people are as blessed as I am in that. But Lovely, can you kind of speak to where we went from mock-ups into the other kinds of work that you started doing over the years?
Right. Was it 2 years already?
Yeah,
It's
it
so
was
fast. Yeah,
I think it
time
was
really
March.
flies so fast.
Yeah, March 2023, I think.
Yeah, it was March 2023. I can still remember that because I was like, I just, resigned from my teaching job and I'm really trying hard to find, a sustainable client that can, provide for what I need, for my bills, something like that. Okay, so 2023, we've started with tumblers. We're asking about mock-up, something like that. And since I know how to do it, I have like a background with the stuff that you want me to do. I did it, and then once we talked more and you knew about what I did before, um, I I think you were mentioning about being guilty of making me repetitive work, and so you tried to leverage what I know before. You tried asking for like a collaboration instead of me working for you, so it became like me working with you. So it went from working with tumblers and now growing, and my career ladder has been awesome with you. The journey has been awesome with you.
Yeah, I thank you. Thank you for saying that. I always, with Inner Circle Prints, if Jesse has a training on SEO or something, I'll hand that off to Lovely and let her learn from his training too. But so over the last 2.5 years, she's gone from doing kind of like the more menial task to doing more of like the growth of our business task. And I say "our" because I really couldn't do this without her. So now what it looks like is we hired someone. Well, I sorry, Lovely. I hired someone else. It was a reference from Lovely, so she knew this other girl, and we brought her on probably like a year or a little bit over a year ago. So now she handles the apparel shop, and she does some personalizations. And now Lovely is over the SEO and getting things listed and then getting them hooked up on ICP and on Printify. So she's over like more of like she also manages both shops. So if something is happening with the customer, she'll come to me and let me know. We communicate on WhatsApp, and then I pay them through MoneyGram, which, there's a lot of different platforms, but we found that MoneyGram works well. And then also, so with the new girl that I hired, she's leaning a little bit more into design, which has always been hard for me to let go of because I love the design part of print on demand. So I work alongside her and we design together, and then we hand off the designs to Lovely, and Lovely gets them on the mock-ups. I approve the mock-ups. She does the SEO and she's trained in the SEO, and I will confirm the SEO that she's created, and then she will list it on Etsy, and she will then link it to ICP and to Printify. And she'll also do edits. So I know we talked about the payment. So we have a payment system where it's split. It's you're either doing hourly work and you're tracking your hours, or if you're doing personalizations that we have not synced up to Hello Custom, at that point you're getting 50 cents per edit. So it just kind of depends on what kind of work you're doing to, which of the payment methods we're using. Um, Okay, lovely. So I coach people through Inner Circle Prints, and I always get people asking, like, they're afraid that they're going to get scammed. They don't want people to log into their Etsy accounts. Can you kind of speak to that? And I know that you can't speak for every single Filipino character trait, on an individual basis, but can you kind of talk, what's your advice for that question?
I get it. It's really scary. The fear is real for both the client and the freelancer, because we don't really know each other personally. We don't know you. You don't know us. We don't get to see each other, and especially as an Etsy VA, the only communication we have is through maybe email or chat, but definitely not video call, video conference, huddles. Um, so yeah, the fear is real. We understand it. It's really understandable that um you guys are afraid to hire someone from from the other side of the world. But the best way I think to start is to start small. Okay, maybe a small paid test task. You check if how's their communication skills, how they follow instructions. You don't just give them access to the whole shop immediately. So you build trust. You build, you just have to have a rapport with them. um I think that's actually our foundation, Jesse. Like, we have like a strong foundation on trust and loyalty, that I trust you, you trust me, and it's not something that's gained in one night, in one day, something like that. So there's a period of maybe paid test task, just so you won't get scammed. And also, um if you get a recommendation from someone, that's actually rare, that's actually gold. Okay. And what else can I say? Maybe you can try looking for a VA from trusted websites, trusted platforms. And the one thing that I can say about freelancers, not only for Filipinos but all freelancers, most freelancers just want to have a stable work and good clients. And I do believe that clients also want that. You just have you just want to have like a stable freelancer, um because Etsy is a business. You don't want to change your VA every now and then train them again and again to what you want to have your business, or yeah, to what you want your business to be. I hope I'm making sense. But yeah, scammers are the minority. They're just literally the smallest, group in the freelancing world. But most of us, they we really just want to have like a stable work.
Yeah, no, that was awesome. Can we touch on, so me and Lovely, we started through Upwork, but she does have experience, or she knows about Onlinejobs.ph which some other people use. People also use Fiverr, but
Yeah,
I
Fiverr,
don't know.
Indeed.
Yeah. Can you speak to that and which one you think is the best if they want to hire a VA?
I don't want to be the one to say this, but I know on Onlinejobs.ph, but I haven't had any clients there. The competition is really really big because it's free. Unlike for Upwork, clients will have to pay for like for them to post something, and then there's taxes, and then the freelancers also pay taxes, and they also pay a fair share of the cut, something like that. But for online jobs.ph, it's free. That's why I think more scammers or more shady posts, shady job posts are there. But yeah, definitely, I think Upwork is the best platform to use when looking for a client, for a freelancer, because you just know that you're paying someone, and you're in a good platform.
Yeah. Yeah, it worked really well for us, obviously. But then, yeah, do you think it's okay to get a referral like from you to hire the second person, or would you suggest posting again on Upwork to get the second person?
Okay, I would probably say post in Upwork. You can ask for a recommendation, but then again, it's just a recommendation. It's still up to you if you want to hire that person, if you feel that vibe to work along with that person. Yeah, a recommendation is good. posting job posts in Upwork is also good, but definitely at the end of the day, it will be your part or your job to choose who you want to, you know, invite to your business.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And then building trust with that new person, just like you
Yeah.
did with the first one. I think one of the biggest fears that I had starting out was I wanted to make sure that you hadn't worked with other Etsy shops because I was
Mm-hmm.
afraid that if you logged into, someone else's Etsy shop, it would connect our IP addresses, and
Mm-hmm.
if my shop gets shut down, theirs does. Or there was this fear that was happening, when I hired you a couple years ago. I think it's less prevalent now. I think Etsy was really trigger happy back then with, tying shops together and doing that. It's less of an issue now, but it's definitely still something that I would discuss with the freelancer because I prefer that you're new to Etsy and then I can just train you from the ground up. Okay, so go ahead.
And yeah, I personally think that hiring someone, for your business should be someone who doesn't really have knowledge of another person's business, just so you don't, just so the freelancer will not, mix up the language of the business, something like that. You're starting on a clean slate,
Yeah.
right? I feel like it's a better pathway for a business.
Yeah. So two of the biggest things that I have been so happy that Lovely takes off my plate is number one, customer service. And I get really offended if they leave us a 1-star review or if they're mean in the messages. And I want to be kind of salty back to them, which is not a good idea. So having Lovely take over the customer service has been huge. And we're constantly building kind of like these are the responses that we're going to use, especially this time of year when you're having some shipping delays and you need to communicate to the customer. So definitely building out a policy document where they know for sure, like there's clear expectations, and I need to do a better job of this. Lovely knows this. But when the customer comes to you with this issue, this is going to be the response. But a big thing is making sure that whoever is front facing with your customer, making sure that they're speaking the same kind of language that you are in terms of how they talk to the customer. So, Lovely, can you talk about how important is it for a VA to be fluent in English, or should we require that they have an English degree, or is that not necessary?
It really depends on the niche, actually, like on the role that you want to give them. Say for example, if you want them to talk with the customer, definitely, being fluent in English is a plus. But if you just ask them to create a mock-up, the SEO building, something like that, I don't think like being really really fluent in English is necessary for those, especially if you can just teach them, or if you can just correct them.
Mhm.
Yeah, for me a degree in English isn't really required, especially if um you are only dealing on the back end of the business, but definitely it's needed if you're dealing directly with the customers.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've
And
had a couple. Go ahead.
yeah, and yeah, I just have to point out that selling to US buyers is different from selling to Filipinos. The language barrier is really different. I know that you've noticed it. Um, we are using some English words that are not really used in an everyday English term. Yeah, we learn how Americans write messages. We try to copy it. But yeah, Filipino VAs usually adapt quickly, and we study patterns, keywords, and what I usually do when I started. I don't know if you know this, but I usually read the threads that you're sending to the customers. I try to copy how you speak to them, and sometimes if the issue is like um sometimes is if the issue is like a repetitive issue, I try to build a script and just copy paste it, something like that, and personalize it to the customer's issue.
Yeah, that's so funny because, inside of the States, we have different, lingo and dialects that we use anyways. So since I'm from the South, I kind of speak in a Southern way. So I'll say y'all in the messages. But we've had Lovely's English is more proper, like, than mine, and so we've had to go back and forth about just different things, how I would say things differently, but now she knows. Like, last Christmas, I had an ornament that was kind of making light of saying happy holidays, which cracks me up every time. It
Oh
was
yeah, yeah, I remember that one.
yeah, it was making fun of people that say happy holidays, essentially. It was like a more conservative ornament. Um, and so we would send it to production, and then at the end of the message that we send, Lovely would say happy holiday. And yeah, it was just it's little things like that that, we just communicate and then we iron it out or with the kindly thing that you said, you know, like using
Yeah,
the word kindly, like I would never sound that proper. So together we work together to figure it out. But
yeah.
she's right. If you want your VA to be front facing with your customer, then it's probably a good idea. But if they're just doing, personalizations, other kind of work, just make sure that they're efficient, that they get back to you, and that you build trust in that way.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see. Let me see where we're at now. Um, okay, Lovely. Can you speak a little bit to how can I say this? So I want to talk about how having a VA has changed my life, and then I want to see if, just like in your life, how has it helped you? Just to kind of inspire people. Because I don't want people to have this perception that we just want to hire cheap labor. Like, it's not about that. I need help. I need to be able, it's allowed me to step back and do more of the design, do more of the growth, and also be present for my family. Like, so I don't have to sit here every night and work for 2 hours on personalizations or on customer service. I can just like check in with Lovely on WhatsApp in the nighttime and in the morning time, and then she's got everything else covered. So it's really changed. It's made this feasible for me because you have to choose your business model. And we do a lot of personalized items. I do not want to be sitting here for 2 or 3 hours a day doing that work. And so that's why it works really well for me to have hired Lovely and now Teddy, our second girl. Can you speak to how it's, in your life, how has it helped you?
First of all, working with you gave me like financial freedom. Honestly, of all the clients I've had before, um, you are the most inspiring. I am really inspired on doing things that I didn't think I can do. um when I first started, when I told my parents that I want to quit my, full-time job, my 9 to 5 job, they were really hesitant because being a teacher in the Philippines, it's a big deal. You have like a bachelor's degree, you've studied for like 4 years, you're very stable in your job. um but then again, once I resigned and saw how big the world of, virtual work is, I understood the financial empowerment it entails. Freelancing changed a lot for me. Similarly with your experience, you got to spend time with your family, with your kids. It also allowed me to stay close with my family. And speaking of financial empowerment, it allowed me to earn in dollars while living in the Philippines. It's something like, um you're working in the Philippines, earning dollars and spending in Philippine money or in a Philippine economy. Um, yeah, it really, the money that I'm earning right now goes further. I get to contribute to my family, help with bills, and save for my future. And definitely now, it's really a big help because I'm starting my family. It I can see myself staying at home, just, tending to my kid, and then, still working, not worrying about going back to work after 3 months of maternity leave, something like that. So it really gave me the opportunity of enjoying both worlds, like earning while doing my role as a wife, as a daughter, and as a mother.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. So that's so special because that's why that's like the main motivator for why I coach people to do ICP, or I mean to do Etsy and print on demand, is because I want them to have the financial freedom to be able to stay home if they want to. So yeah, it's just such a that was crazy that you just said that. That it's gonna enable you to do the same. And for those of you who don't know, I'm gonna have a baby any day now.
Me too.
Love Yeah, Lovely's due like around Christmas time. So thankfully, she's by the time the orders slow down, that's when she'll be having her baby. Thank God. Um, yeah, that's really powerful. So thank you for sharing that. And I think it shows how it isn't like you working for me. It's like us working together to build something that is good for both of us. I think that's really
Exactly. That's actually the career ladder that I see right now, the career opportunity I see right now. And I think compared to my previous clients, being like an Etsy VA, it's not about working for a client, rather you are working with the client, like collaboration, because it's a business. I always say it's a business. You are helping for the business's growth. It's not only that you want to earn money. Yeah, I just want to make that clear that being an Etsy VA or a freelancer, we want to work with the business's growth and not only for the money, because sometimes they only think about that this freelancer only works for the money, something like that. But definitely no, if you wanna find a good VA, find someone who has the same values with you.
Yeah, for sure. And there's ways that we have figured out that kind of incentivizes the VA. So for instance, I didn't so if like Teddy, our other VA, if she sends something to production in Printify and she did the wrong personalization, I didn't want to penalize her, but on a weekly basis, what I'll do is if there are no errors, I will give her a bonus for that week's orders. So for us, it's on a tiered system. It depends on how many sales that we get in the shop. If we get over 75 sales in the shop that week, then it'll be a $25 bonus. So it just kind of incentivizes the VA to not make mistakes instead of punishing them for making a mistake. Because I made so many more mistakes with Printify before I hired Lovely. And Lovely was doing it before Teddy was, and her margin for error is so small. But I think that little bonus really helps, helps them think twice, like, okay, I don't want to mess this up because I want to get that
Mm-hmm.
weekly bonus. But then there's other ways that you can do it too. So now with me and Lovely, I pay her weekly, but then she gets a bonus monthly based on the sales in the shop. So she wants to see the shop grow just as much as I do. And we're really in it together to make it grow. Um, I think I had, let's see. Oh, I was gonna say, so if you're just getting started and you want to hire a VA, like Lovely said, just start small. But I would identify probably one of your biggest bottlenecks and try to alleviate that with a VA. Lovely, what do you think would be a good jumping in point for a VA?
I would say before hiring a VA, yeah, definitely. Um, try to figure out your bottlenecks, your problems, your challenges, just so when you're looking for a VA, you know what to find. You're just not, looking for a cheap work. You're not just looking for a VA to be your VA, but you're looking for someone who will be beside you during the ups and downs of your business. So definitely, you just have to pinpoint where you're stuck at, and then um go from them go for the for oh my gosh, go from that point. Okay. Maybe from the product uploads, customer messages, something like that. You just have to have a system wherein the VA can help you, because hiring a VA that doesn't really align to what you need is a waste of time.
Mhm.
So I think that's where you can start, or yeah, where you can start looking for a VA.
Yeah, I think also if you're working with Inner Circle Prints, a good way, if you're scared of letting the VA into your Etsy account at first, before you build trust, you can give them access to ICP. They can log in and see the personalization details and they have the link directly to the Canva document. They can go do edits and upload it right there, and you can still be the person that submits it. that checks the graphic to make sure that
Yeah.
it's right and submits it. If you're not, knee deep in Hello Custom using that, you could do it that way first. But then I know it seems daunting, but then you really just scaffold on top of it. So if I want my VA to start doing customer service, then we're probably going to tag team it. Um, yeah. So don't let it intimidate you. You're going to build your own model that works for you and your business. I wanted to mention this is random, but so ICP, they print their labels for whatever they're going to ship out that day at 7 a.m. Pacific time. And so our flow is Lovely is 14 hours ahead of me. So we're really working at the same time in my nighttime and then my morning time. Same for her. And then during the day, we're both like I'm asleep while she's awake and then opposite. So I make sure that Lovely make sure that everything is sent to production before that cutoff time. So that's kind of a good rhythm that you could get in if you're working with ICP and hiring a VA. So that's I know you had some other points that you wanted to mention, Lovely. I just want to open it up to whatever advice you have for Etsy sellers who are thinking about hiring a VA.
Um, I just want to say that if you want to hire Filipino freelancers, communication and respect go a long, long way. I mean, it worked for us, Desi, and I just want to let other sellers know about this, but we work best when we feel trusted, appreciated, treated as partners and not, workers. Okay? So yeah, I really agree with you when you said about, minding the time difference of the workers or the VA. I think it's one of the best way to practice respect. You know when to message me, I know when to message you. I know when to expect a reply from you, and vice versa. We
Sometimes not for like 48 hours. Sorry.
Not really, but yeah, we know what to expect from each other. We just want to be treated as partners and not robots, something like that. I remember when I started working with you, before you fully give me the role. Say for example, the customer service, you made me like you created like a sheet of we created. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember. We've created like um a document sheet where all the issues are there, and we try to write a generic response just so I know what to say to the customer. And you know a little kindness goes a long way. A little kindness creates loyalty. If you want to hire a Filipino freelancer, you have to aim to find someone that is very, very loyal. A loyal VA can scale your business in a ways you don't expect.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because you see things that I don't see, and you bring up issues that I never would see. When we started, the kind of freelance work that Lovely was also looking into was like a call center job. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, I
So
remember that one.
and that was blowing my mind because she's got this degree and she's been a teacher, and I'm like, "Why do you wanna do call center work?" And then I had her doing, this task that didn't take much thought, and I knew that she could do something bigger in my business. So I think just, pinpointing in your VA what they're good at and then pulling that out of them and then helping them believe, like, it can be so much bigger for you. Like, there's so much money in the states, in the world that you can have access to, that here are some ways that you can do that. And then yeah, just the belief in each other, because Lovely knows this. I go through seasons of like scarcity mindset if sales are down, and she'll really talk me up, she'll we know how to go back and forth with each other like that. So are there any last words that you want to say?
Lastly, about Filipino VA, I would say that most Filipino freelancers take work very, very seriously. So, if you're still afraid of, hiring someone, because, you're afraid of being scammed, again, do a small paid desk. But we Filipinos, we value responsibility. Our culture values responsibility. If we say we'll get it on, we'll get it done. We always say yes. I don't think, I don't know if I, said no to you, but yeah, our culture teaches us to say yes all the time,
No.
even if even if we don't have like electricity. We try to find ways if there are challenges along our work. We try to get it done. So yeah, that reliability is one of the biggest reasons why clients love working with Filipinos.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Lovely, for coming on the channel. And I know she's gonna have a baby in about a month, but we've been discussing if it would be helpful for you guys for me to have her back on the channel. And she's even creating a guide that is specific to Etsy sellers. Like, how would you hire a VA? What would be the things that you're looking for? So definitely let us know down in the comments what would be helpful for you as she finishes building that out. And I'll definitely have her back on the channel well, probably not soon because we're having babies, but eventually. Thank you, Lovely.